we're going to continue with our fraction unit. So put on your thinking caps. Let's get ready. The objectives that we're going to cover today are estimating fractional parts of regions and sets and using models and objects to show equivalent fractions. Our math vocabulary words are benchmark fractions, which is a fraction that is easy to visualize, such as 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, or 3/4. Our other math word is equivalent fractions, which are fractions that name the same part of a whole. Now, let's look at our benchmark fractions and just listen to this story problem. Emma helped her mom paint one wall in her bedroom red. About what fraction of the wall is red? Now, I underlined the word about, and I'll do it again, because that word about lets me know that we're going to estimate. It's not an actual answer, but it's a close guess. We're going to estimate as close as we possibly can. So here's a picture of the wall. Okay? And right here it says about blank of the wall is red. And we need to determine which of these benchmark fractions we think this would represent. Either 1/4, 1/3, or 1/2. So I drew another wall the same size here and another blank wall the same size. And I'm going to take 1/4 first of all. If I look at this and I try to divide this tells me there's 4 equal parts. So I would divide this in half first and then divide it so I have about a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, and a fourth. And if I were to shade this in, if I were to shade all of that in, I know that looks a little bit messy, but I can look at this with my eye and tell that this is less than this. This red section is less. So I know that this is more than a fourth. So now let's look at a half. Well, let's look at this side. Again, I can go right down the middle and kind of eyeball it and say this is about half and this is the other half. So if I were to shade in all of this right here, I can tell that this, if all of this were red, that would be more than this section. So I think it would be safe to say that this is about 1/3 of the wall. So I'm going to write that here, about 1/3 of the wall is red. Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to look at equivalent fractions. You'll get a chance to practice estimating fractions in a few minutes. So let's move on. It says, what part of a common word do you see in equivalent that can help you understand what equivalent means? Well, if you look right here, equal or EQU is part of equal and equivalent. So you can say that equivalent fractions are fractions that are equal. There's 2 different ways you can find equivalent fractions. One way is to find equivalent fractions is to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Now let's look at our examples. Right here, we have 1/4. If I multiply the numerator by 2, that means I have to multiply the denominator by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2, 4 times 2 is 8. That means that 1/4 is equal to or equivalent to 2/8. Example 2. We have the fraction 1/2. Based on what this tells me, I can choose any number. Let's say 5. If I multiply the top by 5, I have to multiply the bottom by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. That means that 1/2 is equivalent to 5/10. Okay, let's look at another way. Another way to find equivalent fractions is to use fraction strips. This is something that you will get to do in class. Sometimes you hear them called fraction bars. So, look at this example. It says both 1/4 and 2/8 name the same part of a whole. Look at the fraction bars. Here's one whole bar. It's like if you had one strip of paper. The blue represents that. What I did, I took that same strip of paper, and another one the same size, and I divided it into 4 equal parts. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4 equals one whole strip. So you can see the red represents the fourth. So that would be 1/4. Then I took another strip and I divided it into 8 equal parts. The same size strip, 1/8, 2/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, which equal one whole strip. So if you look at the green section, you can tell that 2/8 is the same amount as 1/4. So I can come over here, just like it said up here, and see that 1/4 is equal to or equivalent to 2/8. Now, let's look at another example. Let's don't use the pizza though. We always use pizza. Let's use pie. Let's say you made a homemade chocolate pie. You and 3 of your friends came over. And you're really excited because you're thinking, we can divide that pie into 4 equal parts, and me and each friend, we're going to get a large piece of pie. This could be you, and that would be friend 1, friend 2, friend 3. So you would all get a large piece of pie. Well, let's just say something happened. Let's say 4 more friends came. So you had you and 3 plus 4 more friends. That would be 8 people total, correct? So, oh no, now you're gonna have to divide what? That same pie into 8 equal slices, because you're gonna want all 8 people to get the same amount. That wouldn't be fair if somebody got a bigger slice than the other person. So now you can see that there's the 2/8. Again, showing that 1/4 is the same or equal to or equivalent to 2/8.